The Backrooms. You've been here before. Level 388, The Harvest Project. Restricted access. This is a bntg classified document. To access the entirety of this document, proper identification is necessary. The bntg values your inquisitiveness in our child safety and education project, but due to the safety and protection of our intellectual property, this document is only accessible to a selection of bntg officials. Please understand that we are heavily against keeping secrets. However, certain knowledge can compromise our assets and the harmony of our enterprises. Input member credentials to continue. The bntg apologizes for any nuisance this may have caused. Input credentials. Access granted. Survival difficulty. Class restricted. Protected information. Secret operations. No unauthorized entrance. Image caption. The forest of level 388 during the daytime. Description. Level 388 is known within the bntg as one of their most secret and high-priority projects and assets. The level is characterized as an extremely dark and forested level that is presumably infinite in size. The forest is known to be exceptionally red, as no green vegetation seems to be found, despite the fact that the soil should allow for the growth of some weeds. The only trees and plants that are known to exist on this level are Japanese maple and other larger scarlet maple trees. There is no known explanation for this. However, it can be correlated to the high content of red potassium dichromate and red aluminum chloride in the soil. Level 388 possesses a day and night cycle that dramatically changes the environment. During the day, the sky is a beige yellow, and the temperature is around 35 degrees Celsius. Footnote, 95 degrees Fahrenheit. End footnote. Whilst at night, the sky is a dark red/orange, and the temperature lingers at around negative 15 degrees Celsius. Footnote, 5 degrees Fahrenheit. End footnote. This harsh temperature change should make the level unfit for trees and plants. However, the trees that do exist have exhibited unbelievable resistance. The reason for this high interest and secrecy from the bntg is not related to the highly mysterious environment, but rather a certain entity species that populates this level. This species has been dubbed Species 388, and has been found to have a massive economic benefit to the bntg. Species 388. Species 388, informally known as Crimson Wanderers, is a highly intelligent and sentient species, and is the only known entity on level 388. Their appearance and anatomy are extremely similar to humans, except for the fact that their skin tone is bright red, and their height is around 7 feet tall in their adulthood, and they lack hair and ears. The lack of ears means they're completely deaf. Despite this, they are known to have abnormal physical strength. These entities seem to have been growing in population for years, although they remain very underdeveloped, and their civilization is still in the hunter and gatherer state. They are known to feed off the red leaves of the maple trees, this being their primary source of nutrition. The species has also shown very similar behavior to humans in many of the experiments and observations conducted. The species can feel complex emotions, ambition, empathy, and more. They are even capable of innovation, creating many different types of huts to live in, sports for entertainment, and equipment to help collect leaves to feed the population. Species 388 have also built many different villages using the wood from the trees. However, most have been abandoned in an attempt to flee the bntg. The culture of the civilization is also quite complex, emphasizing the need for love and support of each other in a community. This appreciation of equity and affection led to the civilization being very welcoming to the bntg, which made it easy to collect and slaughter the masses. The bntg's interest in the species began once an exploration team brought back a dead specimen of the species. The autopsy report proved that the entity had fallen to its death and broken its neck. However, what was more interesting was the dark red blood that was seeping from its wound. The blood of species 388 is a similar shade to that of a human, and is a lot darker than the skin tone of the entity, and carries a putrid smell. The blood, known as Carmine concoction, was found to be exceedingly useful in the BNTG's pharmaceutical enterprise due to its healing properties. Carmine concoction. Image caption. Carmine concoction being sucked out using a pipette. This liquid, brought into the interlevel market in 2013, was an instant success. Due to the BNTG's exclusive access to level 388, the price was inflated to over 78 liters of almond water per liter, an extreme profit margin of around 3,679%. The exceptional demand for this product is due to its innovative and supernatural effects. The Carmine concoction is known to decrease the healing time of wounds by an approximate multiplier of 5. Apply it to any cut, bruise, wound, or gash, and the concoction speeds up the production of scabs, prevents infection through a protective layer, and also reduces inflammation. No other product has a similar effect or efficiency, and, due to the dangerous nature of the backrooms, this became useful for many. The BNTG has a 100% market share in this liquid, and the Carmine concoction market has a projected valuation of 476 million liters of almond water for 2025. Being quite an old product, Carmine concoction's market growth has plateaued as the product has reached maturity in the product life cycle. The BNTG are currently discussing extension strategies to try and extend the life of this product. BNTG installations. The only community present on level 388 is the BNTG. After discovering the value of Carmine concoction, the BNTG constructed 2 landmarks on the level: the Project Harvest Biotechnology Research Center and the residential area. The residential area. This area represents the first buildings built by the BNTG on level 388. At the beginning of the level's discovery, this area had only a few tents. However, it quickly expanded to contain well-insulated and furnished buildings. This is built around the entrance from level 39, Enchanted Forest, the only entrance to level 388. The area is used to house all BNTG personnel that are involved in Project Harvest, especially the Hunters. The Hunters are employees of the BNTG that are tasked with killing and harvesting Species 388, and all their training and leisure take place here. The researchers and leaders, whilst sleeping in the residential area, spend most of their time in the Project Harvest Biotechnology Research Center. Project Harvest Biotechnology Center. As the sales of Carmine concoction increased drastically, the BNTG decided to expand their installations on level 388, building this skyscraper. This skyscraper is built around a kilometer away from the residential area to prevent the noise pollution of the Hunters' fire salt weapons. This skyscraper consists primarily of laboratories and meeting rooms. In the laboratories, the BNTG specialists and scientists experiment with Carmine concoction and Species 388 subjects to potentially discover other uses of Project Harvest that can expand commercial success. However, in the 10 years that these laboratories have been running, no new technology has been developed, therefore causing the BNTG to cut its research spending into level 388 from 3.1% to 0.49%. These laboratories are found on the lower floors of the skyscraper. The meeting rooms, on the other hand, are found on the upper floors of the skyscraper. These rooms are for any meetings with leaders or economic specialists discussing the future of the production and selling of Carmine concoction, potential advertisement campaigns, or even strategies to prevent the threat of technological obsolescence from competitors. These rooms are also used for investor meetings and negotiations, where a very select few wealthy wanderers are given the opportunity to invest in the project. Image caption. An image of the center taken from the residential area at night. Threats to Project Harvest. For all BNTG officials reading this document, it is of utmost importance that you are aware of the current threats and how to combat them. Please take time to understand the threat, comply with the instructions in the notice below, and communicate them to the BNTG members under your influence. Date: 17/2/2024. Receiver: Erend Rucker at bntg.corp. Sender: Richard Lawsome at bbar.com. Dear Erend Rucker, you are the executive of the Child Safety and Education Project, or the alleged Harvest Project, and I recommend you please take this seriously. It has come to our attention that there is a disturbing secret behind level 388 and the source of the Carmen concoction. The unethical slaughter you are committing violates the BBAR Sentient Entity Protection Act 9. Your project is simply genocide with the motive of power and almond water. We will not tolerate this. If you do not terminate Project Harvest, we may be forced to sanction bntg products and release a detailed investigation to the public eye. Please reconsider your actions and take some time to reflect and put yourself in the shoes of those innocent entities and what you have done to them. We hope to get a reply from you soon. Richard Lawson, Captain of the BBAR Ethical Committee. BNTG Execution Notice. The following investigators have been blacklisted and are to be executed on site. Richard Lawson, Alyssa Coppercan, Linda Rautenberg, Alex Frost, Raymond Paul, Becca Brodenson. Spies have been deployed in Level 11, the city that never sleeps. Dear Backrooms Non-Aligned Trade Group, I have spent 7 years studying your language, behavior, emotions, and strategy. As the Chancellor of the people you slaughter, I am sending you a formal warning to make you aware of the tragedy and suffering your little faction will face. We have bled in the shadows for your people to live in the safety of your concrete fortresses. The vicious exploitation of our kindness and our weaknesses will end soon. You will bleed and linger in your own sorrow. For many years you have drank our blood, but soon your blood will be ours to drink. Chancellor Katafa. Hunter's Notice. The current whereabouts of Chancellor Katafa are unknown. Seek the Chancellor out and kill it at all costs. This is now your highest priority. This is an order. Entrances and exits. Entrances. Deep into the forest of level 39, Enchanted Forest, touching a dark red tree will bring one to this level. This is the only entrance to level 388, and it is heavily guarded by the BNTG. Exits. Walking too far into the forest may cause one to find themselves in level 9.3, the Overcast Manifold, or level 309, the Fog in the Path. Finding a white rectangular cube with a door and entering it will transport one to level 4, Abandoned Office.